Hi guys, and welcome to another painting session with me. If this is the first time we're meeting, hello, this is Bianca and I've been painting for 2.5 years now every single day with watercolors. And in this channel, I'm happy to share with you watercolor speed paint videos, demos, tutorials, and tips and tricks to help you be more comfortable with watercolor. So, for today's session, we are going to paint this hopeful robin. If you haven't already, please check the link below where you'll find the reference photo, and that's where you will also post your artwork for sharing or for feedback. Okay, let's start with our yellow on the bird, and I'll just simply paint it directly on the bird. This is permanent yellow by Holbein, but you don't need to have the exact color as mine. As long as you have a yellow on your palette, I think you'll do fine. I'll also drop some of my burnt sienna or orange brown on this part to introduce texture or to add texture into it. Next, I will wet the background area with clean water. And it's okay if you touch a bit of that yellow part of the bird that we've done earlier. It's okay. Just let it bleed with the background. And then use different shades of green. You can try pure green, green plus yellow, green plus blue, plus violet, plus pink, plus brown. Using your own colors, test out the different combinations of greens that you can come up with. You'll also see me drop green plus neutral tint, just to make the background interesting and colorful. It will be too flat or dull or boring if you just use one shade of green. Next, I have here a Chinese brush. I believe this is a goat's hair. And using only the tip, I will blend the background together for a smoother effect. And using the same yellow-green color, I'll lay down the base color of this. I believe this is a stone fence. Whatever this is, I'll just lay down the base color for this one. And keeping in mind, checking my reference, that I have a highlight on the right side. So I'll go lighter on that part. With the yellow-green mixture that I have already used in the background, I just added some brown and a bit of blue to produce this gray color that I'll use in the body of the bird. You may use brown plus blue as well, my favorite combination to produce a beautiful neutral color. Or you can just copy what I did, where I just added a bit of blue and brown on my yellow-green mixture. I'm just tapping out excess paint that got mixed into the yellow. I don't want that yellow to spread. And using a smaller brush and a darker mixture, I'm using short quick strokes to add texture, to suggest the feathery texture of the body of the bird. Once you're done with this part, let it dry first. And then the next thing we'll work on is the brown area on the back of the bird. I'm using burnt umber plus a bit of ultramarine blue. So just use any brown plus a bit of blue that you have. If you find your brown too bright for this subject. And where the darker areas are, I'm going to drop the same mixture but with more blue to it to make it darker. So observe your reference photo and observe the shadow shapes. That is where you will lay down the darker shades. Using neutral tint, or if you prefer black, I'm now coloring in the eye of the bird, leaving a tiny bit untouched for the highlight. And I'll use the same color for the shadowed area of its beak. Next, I'll use a darker brown mixture for the feet of the bird. I won't worry about the shadows for now. I'll add them later when it dries. Using dry brush technique and a dark mixture, I believe this is neutral tint plus a bit of brown, but feel free to use other colors that you have as long as it's dark. Have fun in this part. I really love dry brush technique because you don't really need to be careful and paint inside a specific shape. Just try and create a texture, a rough texture with dry brush. And you'll also see me using a smaller brush because by doing that, I am picking up less pigment on my palette, and thus it helps me to produce this lovely texture. And if this is your first time doing dry brush, I suggest that you practice first on a different sheet of paper and use the side of your brush and not the tip, and go as lightly as you can. it's time to add darker tones on our painting. And with this part, when painting the feathers, I'm going to use my wrist. I'm going to move my whole wrist and not just the fingers to sort of paint a straight line. So again, if you're not comfortable doing this on your painting, practice first on a different sheet of paper. Now continue doing this for the rest of the body of the bird, checking back my reference photo where there are prominent feather marks, and I want you to do the same. Use short, quick strokes to introduce or suggest the feathers of the bird. And we're not into producing a hyper-realistic painting, really. So don't stress yourself in doing every single feather of this bird. Just use the short, quick strokes and introduce or suggest the texture of a feather. And pay close attention to where the dark areas or the shadow areas are. Make them darker and practice painting short, straight lines for the prominent feather marks. And I'm sure you'll do fine. Saying hi also to the replay squad who are too busy to join us during the premiere but made sure to allot some time to paint along with us. Saying hi also to the Watch Now, Paint Later squad, and also to those who are watching live and painting along with me. I hope you'll find this session relaxing and distressing. Enjoy! I'll do the same with the yellow part of this bird, and I'll add a bit of burnt sienna to my yellow mixture to introduce or to suggest the texture of the feather. Now, since I've painted the darker areas of the feathers, my background is looking a bit pale now. But if yours is bright, or if you're contented with your background, you don't need to do the next step. But for me, I'll add another layer of yellow-green to kind of brighten the background more and to unify the different shades of green that I've used earlier. Let this dry, and don't forget your signature. And that's it. I'm really excited to see your own version of this painting, so please post yours in the link below. And I'll see you in our next painting session. Bye!